Hi, I'm George Roach, and I'm a 2023 Nuffield scholar and third generation poultry farmer. When I returned to the family business, which is made up of 6 broiler units and an animal feed mill, in late 2017, I naively decided to look at what it would take for us to become carbon neutral. After all, we already had a lot of renewable energy, so how hard could it really be? It soon became clear the 90 tonnes of soy that we use across our farms each week were going to be a huge barrier to any quest for carbon neutrality. Now, it wasn't long after this that I first heard about insect protein and its potential to replace conventional proteins such as soya in animal feed. Now, the amazing thing about the insects being used for protein is they can convert almost any organic waste into free products. And these are a high quality protein with an amino acid profile perfect for chickens, oil, which can be used in animal feed, biodiesel, or as cosmetics, and finally frass, which is a fantastic fertilizer for use in cropping agriculture. Now, the best thing about insects, they can even be grown on poultry manure, a true circular economy. How could this not work? Over the next couple of years, the industry grew rapidly, going from small backyard setups to growing companies with millions of dollars of private equity backing behind them. And it was at this point I decided that I should apply for my Nuffield Farming Scholarship. My application was successful and was generously sponsored by the Poultry Meat Group, so I set off to learn all that I could about insect agriculture, the different production systems, the role it could play in poultry feed, and to establish, most importantly, if the idea does indeed have legs. To do so, I visited insect protein businesses in the UK, Europe, and in Africa. Throughout my travels, I identified 3 main hurdles the industry will have to overcome if it's to move from a novel concept to a genuine replacement for conventional protein. The first issue is scalability. The UK poultry industry uses a vast amount of soy each year, roughly 1.2 million tonnes. Meanwhile, portions of the insect industry are opting for modular systems, typically using shipping containers. To replace even 10% of the soy used in poultry feed, 20,000 of these shipping containers would be needed. And this is just the production side. This is before you get into the genetic research, the breeding, the hatching, the processing. All these too would have to scale massively to support the growing industry. Now, the reason I feel this is a problem is that from meeting a lot of the insect entrepreneurs, especially those in the UK, at startup level, I got the feeling they didn't understand quite how big the challenge they are facing is. Cost of production is another thing that has to be overcome. Currently, defatted protein is trading at over $1,500 to $3,000 per tonne in Europe, when you can buy soya delivered to your mill for around $400 a tonne. The industry is stacked with cost of production challenges, but the key ones I identified are egg costs. You want this to be typically below $1 a gram, but can be as high as 10 in some scenarios. 2, substrate costs. This should ideally be a tractor gate fee for taking it in rather than you purchasing it in. Thirdly, you have the difference between labour costs and automation. The industry is currently split on which route to take. Both of them have a cost implication. And then finally, there is the energy cost due to the amount of cooling and ventilation required. This really surprised me. Now, the final and, in my opinion, greatest challenge facing the industry in the UK is regulation. In the UK, insect protein is covered by heritage legislation that was introduced to combat BSE. Now, this means that unless alive, insects are classified as processed animal protein and cannot legally be fed to chickens. Furthermore, they're treated as conventional livestock when it comes to regulating what they themselves can be fed. I believe this is a huge barrier preventing the economies of scale the industry desperately needs to achieve. And without doing so, and with no regulatory change, the industry will not prove to be viable. However, I have seen that with sufficient deregulation, as in Africa, insect protein has the potential to challenge conventional protein in animal feed, and we'll watch closely to see what changes in the UK, and hoping that it one day will become viable. I would once again like to thank the Nuffield Farming Scholarship Trust and the Poultry Meat Group for allowing me this great opportunity.